Happy Monday. Happy Monday.
It is a Monday.
It is Monday indeed. We are here with Monday morning motivation. How's everybody doing today?
We're all doing good here. We got coffee. We got the puppy here, getting all the pets.
Yep.
It's good.
It's
good.
a thing.
It is a thing. Who we got watching, babe?
Well, let's see. Janelle was here, but she said, love your live streams, but unfortunately I'll have to catch your replay today on my way out to run some errands. Well, Janelle, we hope your errands go well, and no worries. We'll miss you, but that's all right. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Sounds like Janelle's being super productive on this Monday
Janelle's out there adulting today.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, Janelle.
Mrs. Newton's Big Family, Big Noise is here, said looking forward to this. Well, we are too, for the most part. I always say that, but then again, there's always a little bit of a question of what's going to happen because it is live. You just never know. So, things like the dog could come over here and lay on my light that I have set up, or you just never know. It is a challenge sometimes, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Simmons is here. Says, "Yay, it's Monday." Well, we're glad you're here with us on a Monday, Jeff. 22 QCat Lynn is here, of course, the OG. Good morning. Love me some Chris and Ash motivation. Getting used to seeing you go live every day too makes me happy. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of live streams. So, do you guys like these live streams? Like, do you enjoy, like, not just on this channel, but even on the main channel? Like, do you enjoy when we go live and we answer questions and talk with you guys and that kind of stuff? Because I enjoy doing them. And as long as you guys are having a good time and you're enjoying doing them and I'm enjoying them, like, we can do more of that kind of stuff. It's not a problem. The nice thing about lives is they actually don't require near as much work on our end, because I don't have to film multiple things and then edit it all together. And so a live stream takes one, or yesterday I did that extra long one, was like 2 hours of my time. A video takes like 20 hours of my time. So, doing more live streams for you guys from time to time, like if there's a certain subject or some kind of type of live stream you'd like to see, like that's really no skin off our nose. That's easy. We can certainly do more if you're not tired of us yet. So
we did one Saturday while we were driving in the car. If you guys didn't see that on your main channel.
Yep.
So we did that one. You did your extra one filling in for Dustin yesterday.
Yep. Filled in for Dustin yesterday.
Monday motivation today, and then you got your Tuesday night live, and then I do a live stream on Wednesday night. So you're doing 5.
Yeah, we're doing five live streams in a row. So pretty wild. But honestly, we like the live streams because they're just they're fun, and it doesn't put an excessive amount of like editing work or something on my table to have to do them. So
I think too, I was telling Chris, I think for me at least, I actually really enjoy doing live streams as well whenever we can. And I really think, though, the reason why I enjoy them is because you guys actually tuning in and like interacting with us. I feel like I know so many people by their YouTube handle, and like we read your comments on like YouTube videos, and that's awesome. And we so appreciate that. But like, Chris is so busy, he can't get back to everyone. But it's like, there's something really cool about being live and you guys being active in the chat and talking to us. I feel like we can just connect better. And I think it kind of builds a stronger community because we're able to actually like communicate, even if it's not face to face. So that's what I really, really enjoy about the lives.
I totally agree. I also think for you guys as a community, I have noticed it allows you to interact with each other live and support each other and give each other, motivation and tips and tricks and information and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, it's not just us trying to do the motivation and the inspiration and supporting people and whatever. You guys get to jump in and be a part of that too with each other in the chat. And I think that's really cool.
I think it may help build a community. So if you guys are all about live streams, let us know. Comment live stream down below.
Absolutely. I see we got 11 people watching and we got 4 thumbs up. So guys, make sure to hit that thumbs up button for us and just let us know that you're here. Let YouTube know that we're here doing this and that this is valuable information. I hope it's valuable information.
Anyway, I think it is.
That's the goal. So let's see. Wallflower Donna's here. Aunt Donna is here. Good morning. Carnivore K is here. She says good morning all. We actually have a little meeting with Carnivore K scheduled right after this. So we're going to hop off here on time today at the end of our live stream. And we're going to be talking with Carnivore K about a little project coming up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be fun.
Very good.
Jeff Simmons says, I do like the live stream. Excellent. We were very glad. Richard Williams is here. Good morning, neighbors. Hope everyone has a great week. Well, good morning, neighbor. We hope you have a great week. And we appreciate you being here. Addicted to Antlers is here. She says, good morning, all. Lynn says, love all the lives. Great way to get to interact, even if you can't really see any of us. Yeah, I feel the same. So Renee Harris is here, says, morning, listening from my dump truck. I love you guys. I follow you both. Absolutely love your recipes and music. Renee, we love you, and we are so glad you're here, and thank you for just putting us on in the background in the dump truck and doing what you got to do today. We sure appreciate it, and we're very glad you're here. Be safe on the road. So Addicted to Antlers says live stream. So there's a vote for the live streams. Lynn says the lives are the next best thing to actually getting to see someone in person. It's a wonderful thing. I agree. It's really, really cool, and we enjoy it. So
good deal.
Robert Hannah is here, says morning. Good morning, Robert. We're glad you're here. Jolene is here. Good morning from Connecticut.
Morning.
And Donna Wallflower says, I really like the lives, more of a conversation with our peeps. Yeah, I agree. It's very cool. And Jolene says she loves the live streams too. So
sweet.
Yeah, well, seems like people really love the live streams. Well, I don't want to like annoy everybody by doing them daily, but honestly, it's so easy for me to just set them up and do them. And I feel like I have so many things I'd like to talk about.
Yeah.
We have so much information to share. There's so many techniques, and it's because it's not all just recipes. I mean, recipes are cool, but a lot of what I do goes far beyond just recipes. It goes in the direction of like, general knowledge and things that we can use to kind of help you guys. Like when you walk into a kitchen or when you walk into a grocery store or when you're just going about your daily life or any of these kinds of things, like, in a given situation, if I have experience in a certain thing, I love to be able to share that with you and tell you, well, here's something that helps us. Hopefully it helps you. Or here's a skill set that I've developed that I can teach you. Or here's a shortcut to getting around doing this mistake that I've done 100 times. So don't do that. Do this instead, especially when it comes to like using a knife and like struggling and all that kind of stuff. Like there's so many things like that I could teach that I would love to share with you guys.
I also think too, we kind of talked about this when you were saying you couldn't get to answering every comment in all of your YouTube videos because your channel's just too big. I mean, it would be like 4 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
I also think like the cool thing about these live streams is like, if you're tuning in live and you're watching us, it's like, if you have a trouble with like one of Chris's recipes, just put it in the comments.
Yeah.
If you have questions on anything, if there's something, you would like to learn more about, like, let us know. It's like, just a cool way to educate people.
And I can give a very detailed answer to a question on the fly that would take me 10 minutes to type it all out and make sure that it was all accurate and that I was saying everything correctly. And then you'd have to like go back and find the response, later. It's a whole thing. I think the live way is much better.
I agree. I also know sometimes with like, if someone has trouble with a recipe, they'll say, hey, I had trouble with this. And you may have like
a question as to, okay, well,
a question before you can answer it.
Did that happen?
Yeah. So it makes it easy. It makes it really cool.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really cool. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the live streams. Well, speaking of live streams, we're here with a live stream this morning. And this is actually a subject matter that, we do a lot of this kind of stuff where we're talking about remaining positive and we're talking about keeping your mindset focused in the right direction to be successful with keto or carnivore or just, anything, starting a business or dealing with family relationships. There's 100 different ways where, any of this kind of stuff may require some extra work, some extra focus, or, kind of having the right mindset, the right outlook on this stuff. And so, we talk about that a lot. And when we got done with last week's live stream, Ash said, I think this is what we should do for next week's. And she told me what she was thinking. And I was like, yeah, I think that's actually a really great idea. Because it takes what we were talking about last week and what we talk about fairly regularly in general on both channels, and it puts it into an actual practice. Like, here's what you can actually do. And so we've put some time and some work into trying to do these things in our own lives, and we've seen really great results. And I know Ash has a little list of things. She's taken some notes that she has in her phone that she was going to talk with you guys about with this. And we're just going to kind of turn it over to Ash. She's gonna preach a little this morning, I think. And,
I don't know about preach, but
yeah, but you guys will notice the The title of this is Tips and Tricks to Actually Stay Positive, like actually have that kind of positive impact in your life. And Ash is the master of coming up with these lists and coming up with like putting into practice real steps.
Mhm.
I have learned so much since she and I started dating and then got married about ways that I can intentionally put forth the effort to improve my own life.
Mhm.
And she is very inspirational, very motivational in these things. And she's very smart. She's very successful. And she has a lot of great information. So I'm going to shut my mouth and drink my iced coffee, and my wife is going to preach.
You're very, very sweet. No, I mean, for reals though, I mean, just being honest, I feel like, for me, at least in the way that I kind of approach life and the way that I learn, I hear it said all the time, like, be positive, or, do this or do that. And we say that a lot, we're like,
Mhm.
oh, don't, be positive, just stay focused, just do that. And we say that to each other all the time, like, just keep going or whatever. But it's like, well, how do you actually stay positive? How do you actually implement things into your daily life that set you up to succeed,
Yeah.
to stay positive when you are having a bad day? Maybe you're struggling with something health wise, maybe you're at a weight stall. I mean, like, the list goes on and on. It's like, so how do you actually do that though? How do you actually stay positive? How do you actually set yourself up to succeed?
Mhm.
And so I told Chris, I said, I hear these words being passed around and this motivation, which is really great. And I feel like every Monday we kind of talk to you guys about some of that stuff. But I said, I feel like it's kind of doing maybe a little bit of a disservice because we actually haven't shared the actual things that we actually do daily in our lives to implement those things. And so this is kind of where I think with this new channel, the Studios channel, this is kind of really the thought behind it though, is like, we know we should be doing things like staying positive and being motivated. We know we should be eating our meat, loving our life. We know we should be drinking electrolytes, but could we break it down and actually give real valuable step-by-step on how you might want to do that while encouraging and motivating you? So so my husband was kind enough to give me this task. And so I basically came up with 11 tips and tricks. And so I just want to take a few minutes. I want to go through each one with you. And feel free, by the way, too, if you guys want, if you have pen and paper or something nearby, take notes. Maybe you want to go back and watch the replay and just kind of write it out. But I think there's something also very powerful, at least for me, I'm a very visual learner, about actually writing these things out to where they stick in your mind.
Yeah.
And don't just listen to what we're saying, but literally look at your own life. Share it in the comments below. Like, the more the better. How are you actually going to implement these things to actually stay positive? So I think this is super great. So 11 tips and tricks that we use in our lives daily, which is going to be to hopefully help you guys. But my first tip and trick, and I think this is probably the most important one, visualize success. How can you possibly do anything in life, whether it be a weight loss goal or whatever, if you in your head first don't have a very clear picture of what your end goal is? Not where you're going to be in 3 to 6 months, not whatever. It may take you a long time. I don't know. But what is like your ideal end goal? What's your ideal body weight? What's your ideal health goal? I mean, what do you want your life to look like? Like, what is your goal? So I think step one is you need to visualize success, and you need to know where it is you're going before you really start on your journey, so that way it's very clear in which direction you want to be going. And I think writing that down again is great. Picture yourself achieving your goals. Think about how good it's going to feel and how good you're going to feel and look, when you get there and you're excited and you're pumped. Visualize that in your head. Write down your goals. I think visualizing things though can really help you actually maintain focus and motivation while pushing aside like negative doubts and negative thoughts. So it's like, well, maybe you're not here, but if you have a clear goal of where you want to be, you can really push through a lot of negativity and go, nope, I can picture it in my head and I know one day I'm going to get there. So I'm going to keep trucking on. Yeah. So I think visualizing success is very, very, very important. Do you have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think that's great. And I totally agree. And this is something that I've done. Helping yourself to do that is really important, and there's different ways you can do this. A couple that I have done is you write it down, like whatever your goal is, and you stick it on your bathroom mirror. So every morning you get up, first thing you do is you see your goal. And you start thinking about it and visualizing it. This also kind of goes along with like how I teach people to play guitar, because your brain actually about 90% does not know the difference between you imagining yourself doing something on the guitar and you actually doing it. So you can actually practice guitar without a guitar in your hands by visualizing yourself doing it, knowing what it feels like, knowing what it sounds like, knowing what it looks like, etc. If you were able to do it successfully. And you can get better at playing something faster just by visualizing yourself being able to do it and imagining that. So that's really cool to sort of visualize, walk yourself through. Another thing that I've done when I was trying to get myself back into carnivore the second time, Ash probably remembers this. I changed the background of my phone to a bunch of pictures of steak.
Yep.
And because every time I opened up my phone, steak was on my phone. And it reminded me, this is what you're doing. This is why you're doing it. Don't give up on that. And I visualized my ability to eat a carnivore diet and not be going off the rails, eating carbs and all those things I had struggled with. I visualized that every time I opened my phone. So however it is you can do it, put it in front of yourself to just aid yourself in visualizing.
I totally agree. I think it's so powerful. The mind is a very powerful thing, and I think we really forget that sometimes. Very powerful. My second tip and trick for staying positive and staying motivated, and I think this is a huge one that does not get talked about enough. It is focus on solutions, not problems. I think so many times, and I was guilty of this for many, many years, and honestly, I still can be from time to time, but I just try to catch myself. I think that when something goes wrong, like we have maybe a cheat or something we weren't supposed to have, or we didn't, hit a goal, or we don't do this, we focus on the problem. We focus on what we did wrong. We never, ever, ever focus on, well, wait a second, I kind of messed that up. I didn't do that the way I wanted to. Next time, how can I set myself up to succeed? What is the solution to fix the problem that you're having versus simply just focusing on the problem? Because if you just focus on the problem, then you're going to keep having that problem. And you've given power and energy and time to that problem instead of actually focusing on the solution, which is going to move you forward and get you past this lump that you're in. So I think when challenges arise, whatever that may be in your own personal life, I think it's different for all of us. I also think that challenges can change based on maybe like where you're at in your health journey. I think that is the big thing, is like, do not focus on what the problem is. Problems will always be there. Focus on the solution and what you can do to pull out of it. So when challenges arise, try to just channel and focus your energy into finding the solution rather than just dwelling on the issue, because that's just, it doesn't help you. It doesn't help anybody if all you're doing is focusing on the problem and not finding a solution.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think there's too awful much that I have to add to that. I'm very guilty in my past of focusing on the problem and letting it derail me. And I think, a good example of that was when I was struggling with the whole carb addiction thing and going off the rails after I had already figured out carnivore worked for me. And then I did not deal with the problem and I went off the rails. I was so focused on, I'm overweight and I'm still stuck on this and blah, blah, blah. And I beat myself up about that. And I kept focusing on my addiction rather than saying, okay, well, what's the solution? Well, the solution is stop eating carbs. And instead of doing that, eat lots of meat and bacon and eggs and like all the things that I enjoyed. It's like, just start doing that. Stop thinking about the carbs and the fact that I was so stuck on them, and start focusing on, how much I enjoy the steaks and how much I enjoy the beef patties and how much I enjoyed cheese and eggs and all that kind of stuff. And, and that's where like when I finally got around to doing this, I didn't bog down in, oh, that's too much dairy, or that's too much seasoning, or that's too much this. Like, I didn't think about all of those problems. I looked at all of the solutions of, look at all the things this is going to fix, because I'm off of these carbs and and I just focused on that. And it's like, I'll deal with trying to make it better and better later. But, I just tried to focus on good things. And that's what finally got me to where I was able to get off of the carbs. And I did 365 days of carnivore.
Also too, to further my rant, I think a lot of the time, because of just internet and culture, we hold up our ideal of what our diet should look like to what someone says on the internet. So, if you're starting out and you're like, man, it's a problem that I have so much dairy, but yet maybe you're still losing weight and maybe you're okay with having that. I don't know. Again, everyone's different.
Right.
My point is everyone's different. So what may be a problem in your mind, because everyone's telling you don't eat too much dairy, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but that's for you to decide. Right. So you need to focus on the solutions for your own health. And this is also why it's important to go back to step 1 and visualize success. Because as long as that lines up with your visualization for success, then maybe what you're really stressing and worried about is actually really not a problem.
Yeah.
So focus on the solutions and just work better to where you want to get every single day.
Yeah. If you don't focus on your own problems, you definitely won't have time for other people to be focusing on your problems.
No. Step number 3, tip and trick number 3. This is I think a pretty big one, and it's take time for rest and play. I think that balance is clearly very important, and I'm not saying that you have to exercise if you don't want to, but I really do think taking time to go out into the sunlight. I mean, we know how important things like sunlight and just moving our bodies and drinking electrolytes and eating right, it plays a huge portion on not just your weight loss and how you feel, your energy levels. It also really helps your brain to think clearly and to put you in a good light to where, when a challenge arises in your life, you're better able to look at it with more of an even keeled level headness, if you will, versus, when you're too tired and you haven't slept and, all these things, it's like, man, it can really, really bog you down. So I just think balance, work with moments of joy and relaxation. You have, fun and downtime. I think all of that balance of like, man, we work hard, we play harder, you're outdoors, you're doing your thing. I think that is such an essential thing that we need for a healthy and a positive outlook on life. I really do. I also think with the people on a standard American diet, even kids, adults, whoever it may be, it's like a whole thing where it's just like, you see kids nowadays that don't go outside. They sit and stare at a video game screen all day. Us as adults are glued to our cell phones. Yeah. And it's like, you just have all of this stuff. It's like, no, put your phone down, go outside in the sunlight, go for a walk, go fishing. You don't even have to work out, but it's like, just go sit outside and have coffee in the morning, but just go outside, do your thing, and take some time to rest and relax and recharge, whatever that is. So that way, when you have, a challenge arise, you actually have the energy and the level-headedness to push through it and to conquer it. Thoughts?
I don't think so. I think that's fantastic. Actually, one thing that I've started doing is because I have noticed, even when I'm trying to rest, relax, have fun, do things I enjoy, I still tend to layer other things on top of it, especially because I always have my cell phone nearby. So like if we sit down to watch a movie, we don't really watch much TV, but every now and then at the end of the day, after everything is done, and I've talked with a guitar student of mine about this, everything has to be done first. And then we sit down and we watch movies or something at night if we have time, because TV and movies and the internet and your phone and all that, it will steal your life and give you nothing back if you let it. So we wait until all of our productivity and all of our important projects and all that stuff is done. And then if we really want to relax at night, sometimes we'll sit down and we'll watch a movie. And I have really been trying to make a conscious effort, and it's a process. I'm not perfect at this yet.
Yeah.
It's a process, but I'm really trying to, when we sit down to watch a movie, take my phone and put it away and not have it in my hands, because what I've noticed is we'll watch a movie, but the whole time I'm doing this, I'm working or I'm goofing around, just surfing on social media. I'm not paying that much attention to the movie. I'm kind of back and forth, and it's like, that's not good for my brain either, because now I'm just bouncing back and forth between two different places, vying for my attention. I'm not really enjoying the movie that much, but I'm not really getting anything done on my phone. I'm just wasting my time and adding more stress to my life. And I've actually thought about what I'm probably going to do is I'm kind of getting myself to that point. And then eventually, when I get a little more comfortable and I'm not picking my phone up every 5 minutes, I'm going to take my phone. I'm actually going to bring it in here in the YouTube cave that I have, where I do all my video work and we do these live streams. I'm going to set it in here, and I'm going to watch movies with, Ash and do all that kind of stuff when we're sitting there at night, and then go to sleep. and then I cannot get to my phone throughout that entire time or until the next morning.
Well, I think that's setting the boundary, because I think the reason why at the very, very end of a very long day, it's like you've worked 10, 12, however many hours all day long, no breaks, no nothing. And then it's like you're, going to watch a movie and kind of start to calm down for the night and just relax. It's like you need that balance. Yes. And so it's like, if your cell phone's distracting you and causing you not to actually take that break, you need to, again, find the solution.
Yep.
Don't worry about the problem. Find the solution. Take care of it.
That's right.
That's awesome, though. I really do like that. This next one, I think is also so important. And I just don't think it's talked about enough. It's the idea of embrace failure has growth. I think so many times, and again, we're so guilty of this, but we've really worked hard to not be this way, and we've seen the improvements on it. I think sometimes it's like, you may have a cheat meal, or you may have something like that, and you immediately just beat yourself up over it, and you're like, oh, it's ruined. I couldn't believe I failed. I was supposed to be clean for, 30 days or whatever it is. And something like that happens, and it's like we automatically act like we have failed.
Yeah.
If you actually had something happen, though, and you stop and you go, wait a second, what is it that caused me to go off plan, to go off, the proper human diet? What actually is the reason behind that? And then you confront that issue, whatever it may be, and you go, okay, next time I'm not going to do that. That's growth.
Yeah.
Because if you actually stop and you address the failure and you address the issue, you're going to realize it's actually not failure. There's probably some reason why you're not succeeding at it.
Right.
And so I think when you're faced with setbacks, try to see them as opportunities. A failure is an opportunity to learn and grow rather than the source of defeat.
Yep.
That is the truth of it. If you were always perfect all the time, there's no way that you would ever improve or get better or move along. Like, you need to fail and take and learn from it. Use it as a source that you can learn, and then learn more about yourself, learn what works for you. Take the information, analyze it, look at it, and then move on with it. I also think too, there's a lady I love to watch online by the name of Cody Sanchez, and incredible, but she talks about, like, with business owners and entrepreneurs, she had a friend who was a billionaire, and they were talking, and basically they said that the difference between a successful person and someone who's not is a successful person will basically go do something and they'll fail 5 times and then adjust it to work for them, versus and they'll do all that basically by the time the other person, maybe the not so successful person, has just decided, oh, I think I'll give that a try. So go do it. Learn from your mistakes, make it work for you. Don't be afraid of it. I think, though, embracing failure as growth is something that is so underrated. And I think if we all had that outlook, we would see so many different things change in our life in every single area, for sure.
Yep.
Anything you wanted to add on to that? Or
I think, quite honestly, this YouTube channel is a good example of this in practice, because this is the second YouTube channel that I've started. And I have no idea where those hearts just came from on the screen. I don't know. That's right. This is the second YouTube channel I've started. And this one has been a lot less of a focus for us because the other one is so busy. But, we're trying to build this one and do our thing. But this whole Chris Cooking Nashville thing that exists, that Ash and I do, is here because I had something that I thought, well, this is something I want to do. And I dove in and started doing it. And I had people telling me, this is dumb. No one needs these recipes. This isn't what carnivore is about. Why would you do this? You're fat. There were 100 different reasons that I could have quit. And some videos I did, they worked really well. And some videos I did, they didn't. And I remember I first started doing this kind of stuff, and I would have people commenting, sometimes on my channel, sometimes on other people's channels who were reviewing my recipes, commenting that, Chris doesn't know what he's doing with video editing. Chris's videos are too long, and this and that. There was all of this stuff that was that were, quote, failures. And I took every single one of those things and I looked at it, and it's like, okay, well, it's a learning process, first of all. So I didn't beat myself up over it. But second of all, rather than listening to all of these things as failures, I saw them as things that it's like, okay, so there's the next thing I need to learn. I need to adjust. I need to put more time, more effort into this, into that, into whatever. And so I learned video editing. I learned color correction and color grading. I learned filming techniques. I learned lighting. I learned storytelling. I learned, cinematic techniques and all these different kinds of things. And I'm still learning all of this. I'm still working on all of this. And so basically I got to a point where this little silver play button that's sitting behind me right here, this happened in basically a year and a half, which that's not the fastest it's ever happened on YouTube. There are people that, they're just experts at this and they blow up a channel and within like a few months they have 100,000 subscribers. That's just, it's rare, but it can happen. But the ability to get something like that to happen on your YouTube channel is having a goal and pursuing it and failing repeatedly, quote unquote, failing, and using it as a point of learning to grow and just doing it better in the next video. So the fact that Ash and I sit here doing the things we're doing and that I make a full-time living as a YouTuber in basically a year and a half is about what that took. That was because every time I failed, I just took that as, okay, there's the next thing I need to improve. And we just kept investing and we kept working at it. And just like the Cody Sanchez thing, which we talk about this all the time, in the amount of time that one person creates one video trying to make it perfect, I created 15 and figured out all the things and all those 15 that didn't work and then applied all of those new pieces of knowledge to the next video I made. And it works. Here we are. So
yeah. And I think you can do that with any part of your life, but even just, your diet. It's like if you try something and it doesn't work for you, take that knowledge, put it in your back pocket, the next meal, apply it.
Absolutely.
And it's like, this is just how you do it.
Absolutely.
So I agree.
Yeah, that's what we got to do. Charlotte says, by the way, hit the like button, everyone. We got 15 thumbs up and we got 26 people watching. So please hit that thumbs up button for us and let YouTube know that we are speaking truth.
The next tip and trick to staying positive on my list, and this really has to do with the power of words. And I think that this one also does not get talked about enough, which is limit complaints and negative talk.
Yes. Especially
about yourself and other people. This is actually a big pet peeve of mine. And sorry, baby knows when I first met Chris, I'm sure you won't mind me sharing this.
No, go for it.
When I first met Chris, I actually think he didn't weigh himself, but I actually believe that he was once over 400 pounds. Okay. I really do believe that. Like our first date, when I first met him, I really think he was over. And we, sat down at a Mexican food restaurant and we had our first date and it did not go very well, but that's a story for another time. But what I remember is how he would make fun of himself for his weight. And he was doing it as a joke.
Yeah.
And it's like, what does your value as a person have to do with the number on a scale? And even back then, it drove me nuts. And so now sometimes, he'll be joking and he'll be like, oh, I don't have a 6-pack yet or whatever. And I'm like, stop it right now. Because I'm like who you are is very important. And I also think too, what we really don't think about is I think you're a great example of this. Like when I first met him, he was, 400 pounds. He was depressed, anxiety. You had all of these health issues and problems. Being such a young person too, it was heartbreaking. And, and I had my own set of issues, but I literally over the course of a couple of years have watched you go from that person who couldn't even get up off the couch. You couldn't even walk around the block. You didn't want to do anything with your life. And I've seen you lose over 130 pounds. I've seen you start a YouTube channel. I mean, you've done all these businesses, you've done all this stuff. And so I tell him all the time, I'm like, do not talk negative about yourself, because it's like but I told him, I'm like, you had to get to the point where you were you weighed that much and you were going through that. And I hate that you had to go through it, but it's like, if you didn't go through all that, now today you wouldn't have started Chris Cooking Nashville and you wouldn't be able to help all of these people. And so it's like, I don't care that you're not your ideal body weight. The number on a scale doesn't mean anything. Right. So do not complain about yourself. Do not talk negative about yourself. Do not be harsh to yourself. I'm dead serious. It just, no. You guys, the power of your words are so important. This also really leads into my next tip, which is positive affirmations. I think repeat affirmations that reinforce like your self-belief and your optimism. I mean, be honest with yourself, but it's like the power of your words over yourself and over other people is so incredibly important. And I think that is one of the biggest things to keep in mind when you're facing something and you're trying to stay positive and optimistic and whatever. Again, it's like if you visualize success, if you know where it is you want to go, positive affirmations. I didn't really do very well on my diet this week, but you know what? This next meal, just right now, I'm going to go back to doing it. And, it's simple things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's something as simple as, man, I wanted to have a goal of eating carnivore at least 2 meals this week. And I did that. Awesome job. Like, power of your words. It really has so much to do on your outlook and your overall being. So no complaining, no negativity, positive affirmations for yourself. Yes. Thoughts on that, Mr. Lau?
If you don't encourage yourself, I hate to say this, and I don't in any way mean to sound pessimistic, but this is a reality. If you will not encourage yourself, no one in the world, for the most part, unless someone really just loves you, no one in the world is going to start encouraging you first. Whatever you think of yourself, for the most part, the rest of the world is going to think a little bit less of you at the very best. Everyone is going to care about you a little bit less than you care about yourself. So if you don't care about yourself, no one else is going to start. And it's a very rare thing. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's a very rare thing to find someone who cares more about you than you do about yourself when you're really struggling. And until you get your own crap together, no one else is going to do it for you. It's the same reason that an employer will never care more about your schedule and your well-being than you do. It's that same kind of concept.
Yeah.
You have to be encouraging and believe in yourself first. As a business, no one is going to believe in your business more than you do. As a musician, no one is going to believe in your career more than you do. You have to encourage and uplift yourself first, and you have to show your own value before others will start to buy into it. Nobody cared about Chris Cooking Nashville and my recipes until I believed in them and put them out there and tried to show people that they were important.
That's right.
And that's okay. That's the way it works. That's the way everything works.
So. Well, and also, how can someone believe in you and what you're doing, especially if you're trying to do something like keto or carnivore, where it's like, whoa, you eat all this red meat, that's so unhealthy. Right. Well, how can you help and encourage others if you don't first believe in yourself? Right. And so when you're constantly putting yourself down and talking about all your shortcomings, it's like, it's a difference between being honest and then just harping on yourself. So just listen very carefully though to the words that are coming out of your mouth about yourself and those around you, and make sure that they are positive.
Yeah.
The next on our tips and tricks is move your body.
Yes.
Exercise, even just a short walk, like even just something super simple. It can really boost your endorphins and improve your mood. And just kind of regular physical activity has lasting effects on your positive outlook on things.
Absolutely.
I know for me, something, Chris has seen me do this for years, but one thing that I actually do is at least once or twice a week, I actually will just grab the dog if I'm getting like really frustrated, or if I feel like I need to do things and I just can't think clearly. I'll go out and I will grab the dog and we'll just go on a walk, even just around the neighborhood real quick. I mean, just a few minutes, but get outside, move your body, the sunshine. I also really love to do things like, there's a little greenway down here by the river. I'll go walk that. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
Just go out, be out in nature, be outside, but move your body. Do little things like that because it's like, man, I can't stress the importance. I will get so frustrated and so caught up on things, or be on my phone, or working all day, and it's like, I'll just leave my phone here, go walk around, come back, boom. I feel like I could tackle a mountain.
Absolutely.
But yeah, move your body.
I saw a comment just popped up, and we'll get to the rest of the comments after Ash has completed her list, but this one popped up, and I think this is a good point to go ahead and respond to this. Patricia is here. She says, how do you get the other people out of your brain? Chris said that last week about asking his guitar students, who's in your head? So like when you have negativity, because we've already talked about like get away from the negativity. And I said, when I've talked to guitar students, when you don't believe in your ability to play guitar and you're like really being critical of yourself and you're being super negative, whose voice is it you hear? Because
Yeah.
it's not your own.
Mm-hmm.
It's you may even make it your own. But if you really think about it, who does it actually sound like? Because it's probably someone in your life who has been critical of you,
Yep.
that you are now hearing them say these things when you're trying to do something. And so Patricia just said, how do you get the other people out of your brain? Who's in, like the whole thing I said, who's in your head? So I have my answer for this, and I think Ash may have her answer for this too. And I'll let her say what she thinks. But Patricia, if you're trying to get people out of your head, there's a couple of things you need to consider. Number one, why do those people deserve space in your head? Because if you have those people in your head, that's your choice, and it's not. This is in no way a criticism, because I struggle with this. I have struggled with this my whole life. I think everyone struggles with this, so it's not a criticism. It's a very honest question coming from someone who has this same issue. Why do you think those people deserve a space in your head? I think a lot of times the people who are in our head are family, friends, people that are close to us, and you need to answer the question of, well, why do those people deserve space in my head? Because even if they're people that are close to us,
Mm-hmm.
even if they love us, does not mean that they deserve to be inside our head.
Mm-hmm.
They are outside of our head. They are close to us, but they are not inside of us. It is not our duty to allow them to run our lives from the inside.
Mm.
So one of those things is you have to be able to say to yourself, do I believe that I'm worth more than letting someone else run my life?
Mm.
Because if you don't think you're worth running your own life, and instead you're going to let somebody else like that determine for you what you should or should not do, what you can or cannot do, that's revealing that you don't have the confidence in your own self, that you're not seeing yourself as being valuable enough to be worth making your own choices.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean you're going to be perfect in making your own choices, but you are a valuable human being, and you have the right, the God-given right, to be who you want to be and who you choose to be. And if you let other people determine that for you, that's an issue of, I don't value myself
Mm-hmm.
enough to think that I am worth making my own choices. So you have to figure that out first. And then once you understand, hey, I am a valuable human being, every time those voices pop up, and this takes practice. For me, I had to do this a lot. Every time a voice pops up and it says, you can't do this, you shouldn't do that, whatever it is, you stop. And anytime something negative comes in your head and you're saying, I can't do it, I can't, I shouldn't, whatever, you stop and you think, is this a logical thing of me saying this is not the right idea? Or is this being critical? Because those are two very different things. People comment on the channel sometimes and I respond to them when they're being negative, and then they're like, you can't take criticism. No, I can take criticism just fine, but there's a difference between being critical of whether something should be done a certain way because it's more effective another way, and being critical because you want to tear something down. That's two very different things. And unfortunately, we live in a society where people use the idea of, I'm critiquing what you do, as a way to be a jerk. And it's not an excuse. It's not a reason to treat anyone that way. So when you hear that in your head, you stop and you say, is this me questioning if this is the right way to do it and using critical thinking to improve it?
Mm-hmm.
Or is this somebody else's voice tearing it down?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's someone else's voice tearing it down, you say, screw that voice. That is not helpful. That's not valuable. That is nothing more than self-doubt and self-loathing and self-criticism, just purely because I've been trained by whatever voice that is, that I should think that way.
Mm-hmm.
And you intentionally stop that right where it is, and you grit your teeth and you push it aside and you ignore it, and you go over here and you say, this is what I'm going to do because I am valuable enough to make my own decision, and this is what I think is going to work. And then if you make a decision and it doesn't work, then that's when you go self-reflective, and that's when you see failure as growth.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to grow from that, and you learn from that, and you say, okay, well, now how do I sidestep, and how do I do it better the next time? But you have to separate those two things, because there is critical thinking that says this is not a smart idea, and here's the reasons why, and here's what we do instead. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the same thing as a voice in your head that sounds like this person that you're thinking of, whoever it would be, that's tearing down what you do and not making you better, but just keeping you from doing anything because it's not valuing you as a person. And that's what it really comes down to, is you have to understand you are valuable enough to be worth making decisions and growing and improving and succeeding. And it's not going to be a perfect journey. It doesn't work that way. And people that want to tear you down for not doing it perfectly themselves probably don't have any success to show for anything, because if they still believe that your journey to success should look like perfection, and that it's their prerogative to come in and tear at everything and poke a hole in every little thing they can, they're probably a loser. They're probably a worthless loser who has done nothing important with their life. The only thing you can do is go tearing at something that someone else is trying to do to make their life better or improve or do something valuable. The only thing you can think of to do is just go punch on it like a punching bag, just beat it up. You probably don't have anything valuable in your own life, because you're apparently sitting there with a whole bunch of free time that all you can think of to do is criticize other people for.
Yeah.
So it's all about valuing yourself. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I do. I don't want to take too long, but I totally agree with everything that you said. And for starters, thank you for the great question, because I actually think this is awesome and very, very helpful. And I don't want to overshare or anything, but I think, to be honest, I think all of the tips and tricks that we are sharing with you today, at the beginning of this live stream, when you handed it over to me, you were talking about how I'm the master at this and I'm whatever. And I don't know if that's true. And we've talked about this a little bit at on the channel, but just so you guys kind of understand, my dad's in prison, and my mom has a lot of issues and is a very messed up individual. And so, when I was growing up, I did not grow up in a very good home. And so for me, something that really helped is, the whole time growing up, I was told that I was unloved, that I'm a mistake, that I'm a failure, that I'll never succeed in anything. I mean, these were words that came out of my own parents' mouths. And then they would leave me high and dry to rot. I've been homeless twice in my life, not from my own anything I did, but from my parents not doing their job. And so when I got older and I got to become an adult, this is why I came up with the list of things that we were talking about today, because I realized that it was like, that's all a lie. And so I don't want to go on a big rant and take up too much time, but I think to add what you said, I know for me, speaking from experience, that voice in my head that says you're not good enough and that you're probably going to be, failure or any of those things, for me, 9 out of 10 times, it's my mom. I mean, it's in there. And so what I really started to do, and I went to therapy and sought some counseling and stuff. But what I really did, which I think is very helpful, is sometimes when you hear that voice in your head, whether it's a parent or whoever, because it's usually the people that you're close to. That's the thing to remember. I find 9 out of 10 times, like when I've talked to people, it's like, oh yeah, it's my mom, it's my dad, it's my spouse, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Whoever that person is, that is that voice in your head telling you these things, stop and look at their life. Look at the things that they have gone through. I used to be so mad at my mom, and I used to be so hell-bent on just proving them wrong and doing whatever. And sure, that's understandable. But, as I've gotten older, I've looked at my mom's life, and I've really realized how hurt and how messed up and how she has all of these issues in her own life that she never dealt with. She never had this outlook in life of learning from mistakes and growth and all of these things. And that, unfortunately, has really bogged her down. And so when that happens, the reaction for most people is literally to turn around and bog someone else down. Yeah. Because if you succeed, you're literally pointing out their shortcomings. And so when you hear a voice in your head, think about the person saying that and look at their own life. I find 10 out of 10 times that person is not successful, at least not in the thing that you're trying to do.
Right.
So it's true. It's amazing to me how people will say things like you're overweight or you're this or you're that. And it's like, yeah, because you're like, a 6-pack, model. Like, what, like, come on.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think that's just something to keep in mind too, is not only what voice is it, and you gave some great pointers, but think about that person, and it's like their life and what's going on there. And I think it actually kind of helps you then to forgive them for their shortcomings and go, man, I forgive you because I'm realizing that you're not really whole and you have a lot of work and healing to do yourself. So I'm just going to go over here. I'm not going to, I'm going to put up a barrier, say, no, but you go on and you just do your thing. So hopefully that helps. But I thought that was a really, really good question.
It's a great question.
Yeah. Next on our list is set small, achievable goals. And we've talked about this a lot, but basically, if your goal is to lose like 100 pounds, that may take a lot of time. I don't know. Everyone's different, And so we do quarterly goals in our house.
Yep.
So basically a couple times a year, Chris and I sit down and we look at the next couple months of our life and we plan and we do these things. And it's like, we're like, okay, so if our end goal is to lose 100 pounds, all right, well, maybe like this first quarter of the year, let's maybe do BBBE. Let's do this. Let's do that. We come up with practical things that are small. So maybe you do BBBE for, 30 days. Maybe you just try to cut down your carb, whatever it is. But instead of being like, I'm going to lose 100 pounds, that's not going to happen overnight. And that's okay. You just need to be ready for that. So take your goals and just break them up into smaller chunks. It's going to make it more obtainable. It's going to motivate you way more. It's going to help you succeed. And we've talked about that a bunch, but breaking down big tasks into smaller tasks helps. It helps that overwhelming feeling. It helps keep it at bay. It really does. And it allows you to celebrate the small wins along the way, which is very important. Very important. So break them up. Set small, achievable goals. And if you guys have questions or want advice or anything on how maybe you can break up, your goals and to make them smaller, if that's something you're not really good with, comment down below, send us an email, and we can talk about it.
Absolutely.
Next on the list is practicing self-compassion.
Yes.
This is a big one. When things go wrong, avoid harsh self-criticism. Instead, treat yourself like you would a close friend with kindness and understanding. I am very guilty of this. Sometimes I will do something and I know that's like, I didn't really want to do that, but I did it. And it's like, and I'll kind of start to beat myself up over it. And this guy right here is like kind and compassionate and like, it's all good. Like, we'll do this next time. And it's a whole thing. So I think it's easier for us to be harsher and on ourselves than it is that whether like a friend or a loved one says, it's okay. Like, we're going to make it through. So again, I think that's where like affirmation and just speaking positive, learning from your failures and your mistakes and moving on. But I think, practicing self-compassion is a big one.
Absolutely.
And if you have anything you want to add, you just let me know here.
I think you're doing great.
Okay. Next on the list is surrounding yourself with positivity. You made a great statement earlier about how when you went back to doing carnivore that you changed the screensaver on your phone to steak. Brilliant. I think that not only is that visually, but you're literally surrounding yourself to where every time you open your phone, you are in your house or anything like that, you're surrounded by positivity. And I think too, this is really important, especially in today's age, with being mindful of the people that you are surrounded by. Are they building you up? Are they tearing you down? Surrounding yourself with positivity, it's the people. Media. Okay, social media, I feel like is a blessing and a curse. But this is why I think that your channel, Chris Cooking Nashville, and this studio's channel is so cool, because it's like we're literally a big community and we're all here to show positivity and encouragement. This is why when someone comes in the comments of a video or something and they are, I don't know if I can cuss, but a butthole, all right, a jerk, okay, keeping it G this morning, maybe PG. But that's why when they're that way, that's why we put our foot down. Because it's like we are here to be a positive community. We're here to lift each other up, and we do not allow people in our circle that are not that way. And we don't even have to agree with you. If you're a vegan, come on in. It's like I don't have to see eye to eye with somebody, and neither does Chris. But the point is like we are kind to everyone, and if you can't be that way, get on out. So look at the people you're surrounding yourself with. Look at what you're watching on social media. You know, when you see someone's post or when you see a video, does it make you feel bad about yourself, or does it instead encourage and motivate you to want to keep pushing towards your goals? So anything that is a negative source, get rid of it.
Yep.
I also think things in your environment are a huge thing.
Yeah.
I think, like, you know, for example, it's like if things like Doritos or something like that cause you to stumble, hide them. Or better yet, get them out of your house.
That's right.
Go through your house. Anything that's a stumbling block, don't keep it in front of your face.
Yep. I remember on that note of surrounding yourself with the positivity, surrounding yourself with the people, surrounding yourself with the setup for success, basically. When my brother-in-law was still living with us, not long after he had moved out, we were going through the pantry and we were cleaning a bunch of stuff out. And there were some things in there, like some tortillas and some different things that he had, because he's not keto or carnivore. And there were some things in the pantry and he didn't want them anymore, and they were getting old and all this stuff. And Ash looked at me. I was sitting in the living room and she was going through the pantry and she goes, "Hey, do you care if I throw this stuff out?" And I remember I looked around and I saw what she was holding and I said, that's poison. That's not food. Throw it away. And she was like, "I am so proud of you," because it was this thing of like, well, you know, money was paid for that. It's a resource. It's a whatever. And I could totally focus on that. But I realized I had completely changed my perspective on I'm surrounding myself with what's good for me. I'm getting rid of what's not. And that was part of what I needed to do. Whether it's the food in the pantry or the people in your circle, do not let yourself be surrounded by toxicity, because the toxins will soak into you one way or the other.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's why, whether it's people, social media, movies, I mean, whatever it is, it's like, you know, you pay attention though to the things that are causing self-doubt and that are, you know, making you be like, oh, I'm not there. Like, get rid of that stuff, because there's no way that you can succeed if you don't do that. And that's something only you can do. Like, nobody can do that for you.
Absolutely.
So,
I like Lewis Stone said, by the way, how to get negative people out of your head, ? Pretty much write down this quote, bad Ash list, and read it twice. Yes.
There you go.
If you guys didn't know, Ash's fan club is called the Bad Ashes. And she has a Patreon where she does like special stuff with her fans and everything. If you guys want to become a Bad Ash, you can go to ashtaylor.com and she has her stuff over there. But yeah, her Bad Ash list is fantastic here for helping with this.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Like I said, it's years of failure and then figuring out what works and just sharing the tips and tricks. We do have one more. So 11 tips and tricks on how to stay positive and motivated. And I love this one. This is one that I've recently started doing, and I think that this is really good. It's start with gratitude. And I put each day, write down 3 to 5 things you're grateful for. Focusing on the good helps shift your perspective. And I think where this comes from, so if I can go on a little rant here just for a second.
Preach.
You know, I lost a lot of my, I've always been just a very tall, skinny kind of person. And within the course of 3 years is really when I gained all of my weight. And then when we started doing keto, which is why I was on keto for so long, I lost all that weight on keto really, really quickly. And then I was on like a stall for like a long time. But while on a weight stall, when I look back at pictures from even just say like, you know, even now, it's like I may lose like a pound or 2 a month, but I'm not losing like 50 pounds, you know, within a 3-month period or anything like that. But I told Chris, I said, you know, I could focus on that. But I said, I didn't gain all that weight overnight either. Right. It's like, it takes time. But when it comes to being grateful and writing down these like affirmations and just the positivity, it's like, I may not be losing a bunch of weight, but also my body needs time to heal. But my anxiety is gone. My depression is gone. My face, you can tell, is like totally started to change in shape, even from just like 3 months ago to now. We were looking at some old pictures.
Picture of her birthday from last year popped up. And if you guys didn't know, tomorrow is Ash's birthday. Yeah. And so it's literally like a year-to-year thing. And we looked at the picture and her face was much more round down here around the chin area, especially. And it's like, so even if you haven't lost, you know, just more than a few pounds on the scale, the shape of her face has totally changed.
Yeah.
It's really wild. It's really, really crazy.
But there's things like that where it's like, I write that down. So it's like, man, maybe I didn't, you know, maybe I'm not at my ideal goal weight yet. And instead of beating myself up, I'm like, well, wait a second. Like, hormonal issues are all fixed. My skin is healthier. I feel amazing. I have all this energy. And so I just start writing that stuff down. It's like my face being able to change, and I've gone down a pant size, even though the scale is the same. It's like, man, look at all of this. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, for Chris too, is he's lost so much weight. And then he kind of has, he stalled for a little bit, but I was like, babe, look at like what you're able to do. Yeah. Like when I met him, he wouldn't get up off the couch. He couldn't walk around the block.
It hurt.
Yeah, it hurt.
Everything hurt.
And you were so depressed and you were so brain fogged. And now it's like, but you're literally like, I guess it was about 2 weeks ago. We went on a hike. We took the puppy. We went and walked a couple of miles.
Yeah.
He never could have been able to do that.
No.
Running a YouTube channel. And like, being able to create these recipes and just the music stuff he does with me and all this stuff. I was
running somewhere in the range of a 120-hour week every single week when I was working the day job, also doing the recipe creation, also doing the YouTube channel, also teaching lessons, also doing Ash's, lead guitar, band leader stuff. Like I was doing all this, and I calculated it was about anywhere between 100 and 120 hours a week I was working. There is no way 2 years ago I would have been able to do that. It would have been impossible. I could not have done that. So major changes.
Right. And so I think for you guys, I think that's something though to keep in mind is like these things take time. You didn't get to, be where you're at, where it's like, at your unhealthiest, having all these problems overnight. It probably took you your whole entire life. And you're talking a lifetime of bad habits. So it's like, keep doing the right things, but remember you're worth more than just a number on a scale, and just kind of keep positive, keep doing your thing, but write down things, not weight wise, but just like in your life, and be grateful for those. And I find those to look back on when you are having a bad day. That's what's up.
Absolutely.
I remember I had gotten like really sick and I had gained like 2 pounds and I was really mad. And then I looked at like my little notes and it's like, well, yeah, I got really sick and I gained 2 pounds, but my body even bounced back way quicker than it ever could have. Or there's like allergies I used to have that now I don't. I mean, there's so many things where it's like, being on a proper human diet has changed my life. That has nothing to do with scale. Yep. And even if I never lost another pound, I mean, I hope I do, and I'm sure I will eventually, but even if I never lost another pound, it's already changed my life.
Yep.
And all these other things way out better it, because sure, maybe the scale number is the same, but it's allowed me to be a way better musician, a way better wife, a way better dog mom, better sister. It's allowed all of these things in my life to improve. And so I think being grateful for how it's changed your life is huge.
Yeah. That's why the people that get very critical of, the whole keto and carnivore thing, or they come in comment sections and they, try to point out how it's not working, or this person's overweight, or that person this or that, like those kinds of people. On top of the fact that they're just negative and critical for no reason, they also don't get that it's like being thin is not the only thing in the world that matters. No. And if that's what you're focused on, you've missed the whole point.
If literally all you care about is how much you weigh, which that changes, based on each person and their, ideal body weight and shape and size and all that kind of height and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I honestly don't care what the number on your scale is, whether you're your ideal body weight or not. I care about who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And that is what matters. And it's like, I don't think sometimes in this space, when we're showing 6-pack abs and red meat, it's like, that's super cool. And if it makes you happy, I'm down. But personally, I want to know who you are as a person. Yeah. And it's like, who are you? And it's like, that has nothing to do with whether you're 700 pounds or you're 100 pounds. Yep. I do not care.
Absolutely. So, also, the idea of beating someone up over not having a 6-pack and focusing, regardless of what's going on in their life and what they're doing as a person and what they're successful at, any of that, just purely focusing on beating someone up over not being thin enough. Do you know what the result of that is in a lot of people's lives? Things like anorexia and bulimia.
Oh, yeah.
Like suicide, like all that. Like it is proven that people who do that to other people, like kids that grow up with parents who are beating them up over not being thin enough constantly, that leads to things like anorexia. Like that's eating disorder world right there.
We've talked about this on another live stream or whatever before, but I can actually speak to this. And this is why I'm saying this is so important. My mom used to tell me I was fat all the time. And like, especially when you become a teenage girl, like, oh no. So I would starve myself. And then I was taught eating vegetables is the healthiest thing you can do. So all I would do is eat a bag of lima beans, like for a whole day worth of food. That's all I ate. And it messed me up. And so it's like, this is what I'm saying. The words that come out of your mouth are so important, and surrounding yourself with positivity, getting the voices out of your head. And it's like, y'all just do it. And but that's also why I think we created this studios channel and your Chris Cooking Nashville. It's like, because we understand this isn't us preaching like we have all of our life figured out. We don't, but this is just years of experience. You know, we have failed. We've learned from our mistakes, and it's like, man, how can we pay this forward? Because we understand what it's like.
Yes.
And so
we're trying to be the support we both wish we would have had.
Yeah, because it would have really helped us on our journeys to get where we are now a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And without, so many trials. So
yeah,
that's my sermon though. So thanks for letting me take over, and hopefully you guys found that super, super helpful. And like I said, feel free to write down the tips and tricks. But I kind of, Chris and I think are really trying with this channel, not just to talk about being positive and motivated and all this stuff, but hopefully try to make it educational too, where you guys can actually get the actual tips and tricks to where it's like, hey, this is how we actually do it.
Right.
So we're not just going to say, go be positive and motivated. It's like, no, let's break it down. Like, this is how we do it. And maybe hopefully then in return, that will help you.
That's right. That's right. Well, I don't think there's too awful much in the comment section that was something that's much beyond what we said. There's a couple of comments that I saw pop up that I thought were cool. Addicted to Antlers says, my wallpaper on my phone is a photo of a place where I love to be in nature hunting. It reminds me of what I need to do to be able to hike into that beautiful place. And
I love
think
that.
That's amazing. Lynn said, when we were talking about the cell phone stuff earlier, I'll let my cell phone steal a lot of my time working on leaving it in another room. Nothing is usually that urgent. Absolutely. And it's hard.
Oh yeah.
It's hard. I mean, they've done studies. They've shown it's addictive. It is hard. Just like food, it is hard to let go of the cell phone. So good for you for making the effort. Jeff says, plan, prepare, commit, act, evaluate, adjust, and continue. Start becoming the new person you want to be. Cast away the old. Repeat as needed. Love your new direction, encouraging others.
Oh, awesome.
And let's see. Lynn said, moving is very important for me. I try to make sure I'm up and moving off the couch or whatever every 15 to 30 minutes. It makes a huge difference for me. I just feel better mentally if I'm moving. So that's awesome. And let's see. I know there was someone who said that, I think it was Jolene, said that she went and changed her phone background as we were talking about this. Yeah, I think it's awesome.
That's awesome.
And I know Cindy has been here for a little bit. She came in late, but she said she's going to watch the replay. So when she believes in people are so negative, they're going through stuff and are sadly miserable within. Yeah.
Very true.
Definitely. Lynn also made a good point. Some of these negative things are passed down through the generations. Sometimes we just have to realize they did the best they could, and we break those cycles ourselves. That's just what works for me.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Totally agree. The whole generational curse thing is real. And Ash and I have this very cool thing where it's like, no one's perfect. And so we all have our things. We refuse to let generational curses go beyond our generation to the best of our ability. We do everything we can to stop those things. We try to be the thing that breaks the cycle. Because we know what we've been through, and we try to make sure that everyone we interact with, and someday if we choose to have kids, we want to break those cycles for the people we interact with and kids that we would eventually have. So
absolutely, yeah.
And let's see, we talked about Lewis Stone talking about the badass list. So guys, use that list. Also, Cindy, if you guys did not know, Cindy has a Facebook keto support page.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. I'm a member of it, and I'm a member too. Ash is a member, and Cindy posts a daily inspirational thing on there with positive thoughts, and it's really cool. So if you guys are looking for an extra place just to get some daily inspiration, go find Cindy DeMange's Facebook keto support page on Facebook. And,
heck yeah.
That will be really cool. I saw Lynn saying that she is on there as well and appreciates Cindy's daily posts. So super, super cool. Let's see. Jujubee is here, says, good morning, friends. Spending my day off sewing and drinking coffee. Well,
nice.
we are glad that
I
you're
like
doing that and that you showed up here to say hey to us. Jen Getz is here. Hi, all. Sorry for the late join. Was on a meeting. Dang work getting in the way of happy Monday. I'm telling you what, those job things are terrible, aren't they?
Just the worst.
Just the worst. Bunch of people telling you happy birthday.
Aw, thank you.
So yeah, she is. We have a very busy week with her youngest brother's wedding, family in town, all kinds of stuff. But I think once we get through this week, we're gonna go celebrate. We're gonna do something special,
we'll do something after get through this week for sure. But thank you guys. So sweet.
So Paul is here. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. We hope you're having a great day, Paul. Please go back and watch the replay. We talked about some great stuff today. Patricia says, been there. Anorexia is never thinking you're thin enough, and it becomes an obsession. Absolutely. Jujubee says, preach. Patricia says, and thanks for Mel's dog food video.
Thanks. Speaking of, look who just made an appearance.
That's right. She finally decided to get up and stop sleeping.
Give it a minute. She'll be right back.
That's right. Maritza says, thank you so much for all your tips and tricks. I'm going to go back to the replay to write them down. It's a great idea. And Jujubee says, hurt people.
Very true.
That's true. And when you start to see it for that, suddenly it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Patricia's question.
Yeah.
You start to realize that they're hurt people, which means that not that it's their fault that they're hurt, but because of that, you understand the perspective they're coming from and you realize they don't deserve that place in your head.
Nope.
Because they're not living a life or coming from a place where that's a valuable thing for you.
Exactly.
And it just makes it a lot easier to understand that. So. Lynn says, so many great people here on your channel. Love and appreciate you all. We love and appreciate you. And I agree. There are so many wonderful people here. You guys showing up and being here with us every week and watching the videos, the recipes, and just all the different stuff is why we do what we do. And we love you guys. We're very glad you're here. Yes. Carnivore says, have a carnivorific day all.
I like that.
Yes, absolutely. And Carnivore K, we will see you here shortly. And Kathy Hume was here. She says, I pray a good week for y'all during this busy time and that you were able to find time for rest. Enjoy the wedding. We'll do our very best. Jeff says, thanks for the great Monday motivation. Well, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to Ash. I think she had a wonderful subject to discuss with you guys today. And I don't know about you, but I feel super motivated. Please enjoy the dog butt. And everyone have a wonderful rest of your Monday. We will see you guys tomorrow in the kitchen for the Tuesday night live stream. We are doing chicken cordon bleu sous vide rolls.
Oh, yum.
It's going to be very, very tasty. So it's going to be like a chicken sous vide with ham and Swiss cheese and a little sauce to go over it in like a roulade style. It's going to be wonderful. So
sounds amazing.
We will see you guys tomorrow in the kitchen for the live stream. And we've got other stuff coming up this week. So thank you guys for being here. Have a wonderful morning. This is Chris Cooking Nashville. This lovely angel over here named Ash Taylor. You guys make sure to eat your meat, love your life, and we'll see you in the kitchen and in the studio for more recipes and live streams.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, y'all. Have a good week.